Welcome to the official Sigma Male channel, where we dive deep into the mindset that separates extraordinary men from the rest. Today, we're exploring the crucial boundaries that define the Sigma Male existence, the 9 things true Sigma men never tolerate from anyone. Understanding these boundaries isn't just about knowledge. It's about transforming your life and reclaiming your personal power. If you've ever felt that conventional social rules don't align with your inner truth, or if you're tired of compromising your potential to fit in, this guide will resonate deeply with you. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear blueprint for establishing unbreakable boundaries that command respect and create the freedom every Sigma male desires. Before we begin this journey together, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Why? Because while others are selling you surface-level alpha tactics, we're building a community of men who understand that true power comes from within. Men who are rewriting their own rules rather than following the crowd. Now, let's dive into the first boundary that defines the Sigma existence: strategic solitude. The Sigma man understands that solitude isn't just a preference, it's a strategic necessity. Unlike those who fear being alone, the Sigma male cultivates solitude as his primary source of power and clarity. When others desperately fill their schedules with meaningless social obligations, the Sigma man withdraws to recharge, reflect, and refine his vision. This isn't isolation born of social awkwardness, but rather a deliberate choice to protect his mental space from the noise of the world. A true Sigma never tolerates anyone who demands constant connection or tries to make him feel guilty for prioritizing his alone time. He recognizes attempts to invade this sacred space as direct threats to his autonomy and effectiveness. Consider Marcus, a successful entrepreneur who blocks out 3 hours each morning for deep work and strategic thinking. When his business partner began scheduling early meetings and sending messages during this time, Marcus didn't compromise. He clearly established that this boundary was non-negotiable, regardless of the temporary discomfort it caused. The Sigma man knows that his greatest insights, most creative solutions, and strongest decisions emerge from these periods of strategic solitude. He protects this time with the same vigilance that he would protect any other critical asset. By honoring your need for solitude, you signal to the world that your mental clarity isn't up for negotiation. This boundary alone separates you from the constantly distracted masses who never experience the depth of thought necessary for exceptional achievement. Disrespect of boundaries. The Sigma male establishes clear boundaries not as walls, but as definitions of his personal territory. These boundaries aren't flexible suggestions, they're firm declarations of what he will and won't accept in his life. When someone attempts to cross these lines, whether through subtle pressure or outright disregard, the Sigma man responds with immediate and proportional consequences. He understands that tolerating boundary violations even once creates a precedent that invites further disrespect. Alex, a respected consultant, experienced this when a client repeatedly called outside agreed business hours. Rather than accommodating this behavior, Alex calmly explained the boundary once, then let the calls go to voicemail when the pattern continued. When the client complained, Alex simply stated, "I value our work together, but I also value clear agreements. My boundaries aren't personal, they're professional necessities." The Sigma man recognizes that people will test his boundaries constantly, not always maliciously, but habitually. Society has conditioned most people to push until they meet resistance. The Sigma male provides that resistance consistently and without emotional turbulence. This boundary enforcement extends to all areas of life: personal relationships, professional interactions, and even casual encounters. The Sigma man doesn't explain or justify his boundaries excessively. He simply enforces them with quiet confidence. By maintaining this standard, he attracts people who naturally respect boundaries while filtering out those who would drain his energy through constant testing and negotiation. This creates a life of clarity where expectations are understood and respected without the need for constant reinforcement. Manipulation tactics. The Sigma male possesses an acute awareness of manipulation attempts and refuses to participate. In these psychological games, while others might be vulnerable to guilt trips, gaslighting, or emotional blackmail, the Sigma man recognizes these tactics instantly and shuts them down without hesitation. He understands that manipulation is fundamentally about control, attempting to bypass his rational decision-making to achieve someone else's agenda. Whether it comes from romantic partners, family members, colleagues, or friends, the Sigma male holds everyone to the same standard of direct communication. Consider James, who noticed his co-worker repeatedly using subtle victim language to avoid taking responsibility for missed deadlines. Rather than being drawn into this pattern, James responded with calm clarity. I understand you're facing challenges, but I need to know specifically what you can deliver and when. If that's not possible, we need to reassign the project. The Sigma male particularly rejects these common manipulation tactics. Appeal to pity or guilt induction, artificial scarcity or urgency, selective information sharing, emotional explosions designed to shut down rational conversation. Everyone else thinks so. Social pressure moving goalposts or changing expectations retroactively. He doesn't engage with the manipulation itself, but addresses the underlying issue directly. By refusing to be manipulated, he creates relationships based on honesty and mutual respect rather than emotional leverage. This boundary doesn't mean the Sigma male is unsympathetic or cold, quite the opposite. By insisting on honest communication, he creates space for authentic connection rather than the superficial compliance that manipulation produces. This clarity attracts people who value transparency and repels those who rely on manipulation to get their needs met. Wasted time and energy. The Sigma male recognizes that his time and energy are his most precious and finite resources. Unlike money or possessions, lost time can never be recovered. With this awareness, he establishes strict boundaries against anything or anyone that wastes these critical assets. This boundary manifests in multiple ways. The Sigma male ruthlessly eliminates activities that don't serve his purpose or bring genuine value to his life. He declines meetings without clear agendas, exits conversations that circle without progress, and avoids people who consistently drain his energy without reciprocal value. David, a successful Sigma entrepreneur, implemented a personal policy of no explanation needed when declining invitations that didn't align with his priorities. When questioned about missing a social gathering, he simply responded, "I've chosen to allocate my time differently." He offers no apologies or elaborate excuses for protecting his time. The Sigma male also recognizes these common time and energy drains. People who create problems but never solutions, chronic complainers who have no intention of changing their situation, individuals who consistently arrive unprepared or late, those who make commitments they don't keep, forcing others to compensate, endless discussions about topics with no actionable outcome. This boundary requires the courage to disappoint others in the short term to preserve long-term effectiveness. The Sigma male understands that saying no to one thing means saying yes to something more aligned with his purpose. By valuing his time visibly and unapologetically, he teaches others to do the same. People learn to come prepared, be specific in their requests, and respect his schedule. This creates an environment where meaningful work and genuine connection can thrive, free from the friction of wasted motion, mediocrity, and laziness. The Sigma male refuses to tolerate mediocrity, both in himself and in those he chooses to associate with. This isn't about demanding perfection, but rather rejecting the comfort of good enough when excellence is possible. He understands that mediocrity is contagious. When surrounded by people who settle for average results or make excuses rather than progress, this mindset inevitably infiltrates his own standards. The Sigma man creates distance from those who consistently choose the path of least resistance. Michael, a Sigma male in the creative field, ended a long-standing collaboration with a talented but undisciplined partner. When questioned about this decision, Michael explained, his talent was never the issue. It was his willingness to submit work that didn't represent his best effort. That's a standard I can't compromise on. This boundary extends beyond professional contexts into all areas of life. The Sigma male doesn't tolerate habitual excuse-making instead of solution-finding, consistent failure to prepare adequately for important endeavors, the comfort-seeking mindset that prioritizes ease over growth, chronic complaining without corresponding action, the victim mentality that attributes all failures to external factors. The Sigma male isn't heartless toward genuine struggle or temporary setbacks. He distinguishes between someone experiencing difficulty while striving for excellence versus someone who has made peace with mediocrity as a lifestyle. By maintaining this boundary, he naturally attracts others who hold themselves to high standards. This creates an environment of mutual growth where excellence is the baseline expectation rather than the exception. The Sigma male knows that the quality of his life is directly proportional to the standards he refuses to compromise. Empty. Social validation. The Sigma male has liberated himself from the endless pursuit of social approval. Unlike those who continuously shapeshift to earn validation from others, he remains centered in his own values and judgment, regardless of external opinion. This doesn't mean the Sigma male is oblivious to social dynamics or intentionally provocative. Rather, he has developed the discernment to distinguish between valuable feedback and empty social validation that serves no purpose beyond temporary ego gratification. Consider Thomas, who declined to join a prestigious industry association despite pressure from peers. When asked why, he simply stated, "The actual value doesn't align with my goals. The prestige alone isn't enough." He recognized that the primary benefit was the social validation of membership rather than substantive value. The Sigma male particularly rejects decisions made primarily to impress others or avoid disapproval, activities undertaken solely for status signaling. Relationships maintained for appearance or connection rather than genuine value, artificial hierarchies based on arbitrary social metrics, the desperate need for likes, follows, or public acknowledgement. This boundary doesn't isolate the Sigma male, but rather frees him to form deeper connections based on authentic alignment rather than social convenience. By stepping outside the validation economy, he gains the clarity to evaluate opportunities based on their intrinsic value rather than their social cachet. The freedom from validation seeking also gives the Sigma male a unique perspective that often leads to innovative thinking. Unbound by conventional approval paths, he can pursue directions others avoid for fear of social penalty, discovering opportunities in territories others overlook. Betrayal of principles. The Sigma male operates from a clear internal code, principles, that guide his decisions regardless of convenience or circumstance. These aren't arbitrary rules, but carefully considered values that define his character and approach to life. When faced with pressure to compromise these principles, whether for profit, convenience, or social harmony, the Sigma male stands firm. He recognizes that each compromise, however small, erodes his integrity and self-respect, costs that far outweigh any temporary gain. Eric, a Sigma male in corporate leadership, resigned from a high-paying position when asked to misrepresent data to investors. Despite financial incentives to comply, he explained simply, "Once you sell your integrity, the price never matters, because you can never buy it back." The Sigma male refuses to tolerate pressure to lie or misrepresent for advantage, expectations to participate in gossip or character assassination, situations that require him to treat others with disrespect, environments where ethical corners are routinely cut, relationships that require him to diminish his standards. This boundary creates a predictability in the Sigma male that builds deep trust. While he may not always take popular positions, others know he will act consistently with his stated values. This integrity magnetizes people who share similar principles while naturally filtering out those who operate opportunistically. The Sigma male knows that principles only have power when maintained under pressure. By refusing to betray these core values even when convenient or profitable to do so, he builds an unshakable foundation of self-respect that sustains him through challenges and attracts others who value integrity over expedience. Unnecessary drama. The Sigma male maintains a strict boundary against the emotional chaos that many people invite into their lives. He recognizes drama for what it often is, a distraction that consumes emotional energy while producing nothing of value. This doesn't mean the Sigma male avoids deep emotions or complex situations. Rather, he distinguishes between meaningful emotional challenges that serve growth and the manufactured drama that serves only to create excitement or avoid addressing real issues. Ryan, a Sigma professional, exited a group chat where colleagues regularly vented about office politics without seeking solutions. When asked why, he explained, "I'm happy to discuss problems we plan to solve. I'm not interested in recycling the same complaints daily." He recognized the difference between productive problem-solving and circular drama. The Sigma male particularly rejects relationships with predictable cycles of conflict and reconciliation, people who consistently create crises that demand immediate attention, environments where emotional intensity substitutes for meaningful action. The need to involve himself in conflicts that don't directly concern him, communication styles that amplify emotion at the expense of clarity. By maintaining this boundary, the Sigma male preserves his mental clarity and emotional energy for pursuits that matter. He can engage deeply with genuine challenges while avoiding the exhaustion that comes from navigating unnecessary emotional turbulence. This boundary also naturally selects for relationships with emotionally mature individuals who take responsibility for their feelings rather than projecting them outward as drama. The Sigma male builds connections characterized by emotional intelligence rather than emotional reactivity. Limitation of personal freedom. At the core of the Sigma male identity is an unwavering commitment to personal freedom. Unlike social validation or material success, freedom represents the non-negotiable element of his life, the ability to make choices based on his own judgment rather than external pressures. The Sigma male refuses to tolerate attempts to limit this freedom, whether through control, obligation, or the subtle pressure of social expectation. He designs his life specifically to maximize his autonomy, often making unconventional choices that preserve his independence even at the cost of convenience or immediate gain. Consider Nathan, who declined a significant promotion because it would require constant travel dictated by others' schedules. Instead, he negotiated a lateral move with slightly lower compensation, but greater control over his location and time. When questioned, he explained, "The salary increase wasn't worth the freedom decrease." The Sigma male particularly guards against relationships that create excessive dependency or demand, constant availability, career paths that offer status or money at the expense of autonomy, social obligations that accumulate without corresponding. Value financial arrangements that create vulnerability or constraint, environments that require conformity of thought or expression. This doesn't mean the Sigma male avoids all commitment or responsibility. Rather, he chooses his commitments carefully, ensuring they enhance rather than diminish his core freedom. He understands the paradox that meaningful commitments can actually increase freedom by creating stability and leverage. By maintaining this boundary, the Sigma male creates a life defined by choice rather than obligation. This autonomy allows him to respond authentically to opportunities and challenges, rather than from a position of constraint or resentment. These 9 boundaries define the territory of the Sigma male existence, the non-negotiable standards that separate men who live on their own terms from those who live at the mercy of their environment. By establishing and maintaining these boundaries, you create the space necessary for exceptional achievement and genuine fulfillment. Remember, boundaries aren't about controlling others. They're about controlling what you accept into your life. Each time you enforce a boundary, you strengthen your identity as a man who values himself enough to demand respect. If this deeper understanding of the Sigma mindset resonates with you, now is the moment to join our community by subscribing to the official Sigma Male channel. Unlike channels that simply recycle surface-level tactics, we're building a resource for men committed to authentic power through self-mastery and strategic thinking. The path of the Sigma male isn't easy. It demands courage, clarity, and constant vigilance against compromise. But for those willing to walk this path, the rewards are beyond what most men ever experience. True freedom, earned respect, and the quiet confidence that comes from living according to your own carefully chosen standards. Subscribe now and begin the journey toward becoming the man you were meant to be, not the man others expect you to be.